Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the weird world of Dr. Diablo, episode 6. And in this episode, we're going to tell you another story about an eccentric entertainer from the past. In the 1920s and 30s, one of the strangest acts you could see was Professor Sparks and Thelmina. They were a headline act that performed in the variety and music hall scene, presenting an electrical act, similar to that had been seen presented by the famous Walford Bodie. Thelmina would come onto the stage and stand on a metal plate. Professor Sparks would connect the electrical plate to a big generator. He'd turn up the voltage and charge Thelmina with thousands of volts of electricity. She'd then perform amazing stunts such as lighting light bulbs in her mouth. She'd even place a cigarette in her mouth, and Professor Sparks would touch the end with a metal sword and the cigarette would light. It was an extremely dangerous act. So dangerous that one night Professor Sparks got the voltage wrong, turned it up too high and literally blew Thelmina's teeth out. She had to go on for the rest of her career, still performing but wearing false teeth instead. They'd also do another stunt where Thelmina took a 6-inch nail and held it in the two ends in metal tongs. She was then charged up with so much electricity that the nail would glow white hot, and it was so soft that she could just snap it in half like a twig. But the act that they became most famous for was washing the electric baby. And over here is Professor Sparks and Thelmina's original electric baby from the 1920s. It's very, very heavy, solid metal, and the act went like this. The baby was hooked up by a long wire to an electrical generator. Coming out of the other side of the electrical generator was a brass doorknob that had been covered in rags. They had a bath full of soapy water. Then people would be invited from the audience to try and wash the electric baby. There would be a queue at the side of the stage with people coming up and wanting to have a go. They'd sit down in a chair in front of the bath of soapy water. They'd have the baby in one arm and they'd have the brass doorknob covered in rags in the other. They'd have to dip this in the soapy water and then try and wash the baby. But while this was going on, Professor Sparks was in the background turning up the electricity. And as the electrical voltage got higher and higher, they literally couldn't wash the baby because of the electrical charge. They couldn't even get the doorknob and the rags near the baby. They'd be shaking so much of the electrical charge. Now the audience thought this was hilarious. They'd be convulsed into fits of laughter, watching the people on the stage as they twitched, jerked, screamed, and even fell from the seat face first into the bath of soapy water. There'd be water and suds everywhere. They'd fly one way, the baby would fly the other way. It was chaos, but very, very funny. It was so funny that the comedians that they worked with in the day, famous comedians such as Max Wall, Tommy Trinder and the Crazy Gang, would refuse to go on after Professor Sparks and Thelmina because washing the electric baby was so funny they just couldn't follow it. Unfortunately, when the war came, Professor Sparks and his family were accused of being Nazi sympathisers, and they had their electrical generator confiscated from them because it was thought they could use this generator to communicate with the enemy. They were also put into curfew by the government, and they were ostracised by other acts, agents and bookers, so work completely fell away. In real life, Professor Sparks was mild-mannered electrical engineer George Rathbone from Northwich in Cheshire. He was assisted on stage by his son George Jr., who was a stooge in the act, and Thelmina, his Scottish-born wife. Unfortunately, during the war, the Rathbone family were accused of being Nazi sympathisers, and they had their electrical generator confiscated from them because it was thought that they could use this to communicate with the enemy. They were also kept under curfew by the government. Their premises were searched, and they were ostracised by other acts, agents and bookers. Work pretty much stopped for them. And even after the war, work was very, very slow as bad publicity lingered in the business. Because of this, in 1959, George Rathbone retired to his hometown of Northwich and opened an electrical shop, only occasionally hiring out the babies to circuses for them to use in their performances. In the 1960s, famous sword swallower and fire eater, the Great Stromboli, bought the Electric Baby Act from George Rathbone and presented it for one season only when he was touring with Ken Dodd in the Happiness Show. After that season, the babies were retired, probably due to understandable health and safety concerns. The Baby Act was sold to Ken Dodd, and for nearly 40 years the generator and baby lay surrounded by music hall memorabilia in Ken Dodd's garage. In the early 2000s, I heard about the Act still existing and, through Stromboli, approached Ken Dodd and bought the Act. Well, when I got them, I was surprised to find that even to this day, the generator, the electricity and the babies all still works. However, in the words of famous music hall comedian Charlie Chester, if you were to present the Act today, you'd be locked up. But there you go, a fascinating piece of music hall and variety history, and definitely a strange and eccentric entertainer. Well, it's now come to the part of the episode that everybody who has been trying to win one of these exclusive Dr. Diablo Sideshow t-shirts is going to find out who the lucky recipient is. Everybody who's subscribed to the channel, who liked and shared, has had their name placed in the bucket on a piece of paper. So we're going to mix them up and find out who the winner is today. So let's see. A little bit of a mix up there. And we do have a winner. And the winner is Magical Mysterio. So Magical Mysterio, one of our subscribers there. Congratulations, you have won your Dr. Diablo t-shirt. All you need to do now to get your t-shirt is to contact us through any way you wish. You can contact us through Facebook or through the website, which are on the details of the channel. When you contact us, let us know what size you'd like, small, medium, large or extra large, and also of course let us know your address and we can send you your prize, and we hope you'll enjoy wearing your exclusive t-shirt. Well, from myself, Dr. Diablo, thank you for watching once again. Until next time, may the weird be with you, and we'll see you then.